Top of the news this hour, Public Utilities Regulatory Commission justifies recent astronomical tariff adjustment proposals, arguing they are to serve critical development needs of these agencies.
Also, Minister for Transport reveals agencies under his ministry are recalibrating their systems to make room for the full operationalization of government's 24-hour economic policy.
Plus, calm restores to the Tamale University campus following a violent protest by students against management on Tuesday. Those are the big ones this afternoon. I'm Kemini Amano, and this is News Central.
And I am Mawinaik Beta. The bulletin starts right now. And ahead of the legalization of the 24-hour secretariat and the full implementation of the government's touted policy, Transport Minister Joseph Nikpe says key institutions under his ministry are advancing preparations to begin the full rollout of the policy. Taking his turn at the Government Accountability Series, he revealed agencies like the DVLA and the Maritime Authority are already on hand to deliver services for 24 hours.
That introduces a 3-shift system in line with the 24-hour economy policy. 5, upgrade of vessel traffic management information system. The Ghana Maritime Authority is upgrading its VTMIS to enable a 24-hour electronic surveillance of Ghana's coast, the exclusive economic zone, and marine resources. The updated system aims to enhance navigational safety, maritime security, environmental protection, and combat unlawful activities like drug trafficking, piracy, armed robbery, and IUU fishing. 6, safety of inland waterways and water lake. To enhance safety and regulation of inland water transport, the Ghana Maritime Authority will soon open an inland waterway safety and regulation office at Akosombo, working closely with the Water Lake Transport Company on the water lake safety. A research and rescue unit will be established at Pando Toko. In addition, the Ghana Maritime Authority search and rescue vessel, Mate Kole, will be stationed there, and I look forward to commissioning this viable or important project. VLA 24-hour services. To improve and expand service delivery and support the implementation of the 24-hour economy policy, the authority has established a new operational office at the Adenta bus terminal here in Accra. This modern facility operates 24 hours a day, offering round-the-clock services to enhance accessibility and convenience for motorists in Adenta and nearby areas. Ladies and gentlemen, the DVLA has since May this year commissioned and operationalized 4 new offices in Adenta, Boale, Asamankase, and Akotia. 2 new offices in Doma and Bechim are set to be commissioned later this month. With the operationalization of these offices, the authority is taking steps to close the service gap and bring its operations closer to citizens in underserved areas. 4, printing of backlog cards. As of December 2024, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority had a backlog of 440,000 unprinted driver license cards. Currently, all these backlog cards have been printed and dispatched to the various DVLA offices for collection. A total of 26,045 cards are currently undergoing lamination and will be delivered shortly.
Now, calm has been restored to the Tamale Technical University campus following a protest by students against management. The students of TTU on Tuesday staged a protest against the institution's management over alleged misappropriation of funds, neglect of student welfare, and a proposed increase in school fees without justification. Even though lectures are yet to begin, the school environment appears peaceful. Now, management of the school has also responded to some of the demands of these students. I want to show you a few more of that shortly. But first, let's connect with Christopher Amwako, who is our correspondent in the Savannah region. He brought us the story yesterday. Chris, let's talk about school environment this afternoon. What can you report from there?
Yes, so Kemeni, I can confirm to you that the school environment as we speak is peaceful. The students are currently in their hostels, even though they are not in their lecture halls, because they believe that until management properly and appropriately addresses some of their major concerns, they are not going to get back into the classrooms. And so for now, the chaos that erupted yesterday has been brought under control. Everything is calm now. Management have been able to access their offices and are currently working. Now, there have been meetings of management and the student leadership since yesterday. And today, the management have written to the student leadership on a pathway to resolving some of the concerns. But the indication I am getting from the student leadership is that they are not satisfied with the resolution coming from management. And so they are going to write back to them, because one of the major concerns they have raised in their petition has to do with the school environment, which is not good for them to live, to do their studies. And so they want management to take a second look at that. That is one of the major concerns of these students. And in the resolution that management has written to the school leadership, that has not been captured. And they feel that management is not prioritizing it. So they want to write back to management to prioritize that particular aspect of their concerns.
So, Christopher, can we say there's been a resolution to the matter?
Well, we can say there is some level of resolution because management has responded appropriately. For them, they wanted management to understand their concerns and respond. But before, this demonstration wouldn't have even come up if management had responded earlier. They gave management time to respond to their demands, but management felt that they were students and they could not do anything. That was why management did not mind them. And having gone ahead with the demonstration, they are seeing that the only language the management understand is demonstration. And that is why management has officially written to them today. So there is a headway, but they believe that their priorities in that petition have not been properly addressed. And that is why they are writing back to management that they should say something about the school environment.
Did management say exactly when actual school work will begin?
Okay, so management has not commented on when, but the student leadership has indicated to me that when they write back to management and the response from management on the school environment situation is positive, it means that they will also call the student body to ensure that even tomorrow they can go for lectures. And so there will be another meeting between the student leadership and management on when lectures will resume.
Very well, Christopher, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Christopher Amwako is a Savannah region correspondent, bringing us that story from the Tamale Technical University, where he reports that calm has been restored after students and management both made headway in finding a resolution to the grievances of students.
Away from that, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, the PURC, has resumed its nationwide public hearing on proposals submitted by utility companies As part of the 2025 to 2029 multi-year tariff review, the goal is to create a platform for the promotion of transparency, inclusiveness, and accountability in tariff setting, while ensuring that the Commission's decisions strike a balance between economic realities and social considerations. We know that 3 utility service providers, ECG, the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NEDCO, and then the Ghana Water Company Limited, have all tabled proposals seeking tariff hikes averaging 690%. That's if you slap it all together, not the average. Citing financial strain and the need to guarantee uninterrupted power and water supply. And we know ECG is demanding 239% for raising its distribution service charge from 19 pesos to 61 pesos per kilowatt hour. The utility argues that the cost-reflective tariffs are essential to addressing their many issues. But let's connect with George Quainin, who's been monitoring these reviews for us. He's joining us right now with a bit more in terms of the detail and as the conversations continue from there, and we'll seek to get an understanding as to what the conversations are currently and what more we can learn of. George, thank you as always for joining us. We heard of the tariffs these utility service providers were seeking. I'm sure the conversation has moved on from there. Where is it, and does it look like they'll be receiving what it is that they are pushing for?
Thank you so much. Good afternoon for having me. And we're coming to you live from the Ghana Shippers Authority. And this, of course, is the Accra public hearing for the 2025-2030 major tariff reviews. And so these utility service providers have actually justified what these intended increments will be used for. And I've been joined by the Acting Director of Corporate Strategy at Great Code, that's Tamale University, and they are demanding some 131% increment. And there's this issue that is of great concern. You all know the impact of Galamsey. It's actually impacted the operations. And so some of their transmission lines have been damaged. Samuel, tell us more. I know if this very proposal is actually approved, at least you can manage some of these transmission lines that have been damaged here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me make a quick correction here. We've not had any tower falling as a result of Galamsey yet. But what we are highlighting here is that it's an emerging threat to the supply of electricity because these are huge trenches and puddles that are quite close to the towers, and we would have to build retaining walls or strengthen the existing foundations of the towers. But that's a very small aspect of the challenges that have occasioned the submission of a new tariff proposal. The reason why we are presenting this proposal to the PRC is to prepare for the rebound in the economy that we're seeing now, which will drive up the consumption of electricity. If you look at the growth that we are projecting in the consumption, it's around the region of 10% from the previous year. And there are issues of poor voltages in the eastern part of the country, from the northern region all the way down to the Panta, and then some parts of the Volta region. These are areas that are served on 69 kV. And it's the lowest voltage we have on our network, and we need to upgrade those lines to 161 kV. There are certain operational challenges as well that we need to solve. I indicated when we had the opportunity to present that we have to clear large tracts of land to make sure that there is very little possibility of pushes touching our conductors to trip the lines. So these are the reasons why we have to make this.
I also know that you want to also safeguard the perimeters of the towers. You have 70,000 doses across the country. I know you're concerned about people habiting close to these towers. How dangerous is this?
Yes, what happens is that we have a lot of ramshackle cottages and dwellings around these areas. And it's not only the access to the towers that's of concern to us, but as well the safety of life and property around these areas. I mean, people stay there, they cook, and there's a possibility of fire catching up in this whole area. And then if a line should drop as a result of these human activities, we're going to lose a lot of lives. We're going to have a lot of properties damaged. And also the disruption and interruption to power supply will be very dire because we've always mentioned that one substation serves several localities, towns, and sometimes regions.
I'm yet to see a tariff review where cost you've actually proposed is given to you 100%. In case you are given, let's say, half of what you're demanding, how will that impact your operations?
Well, so what we have to do is that we would have to reprioritize and then look at the areas where we are much more vulnerable, and then the areas where we have major issues to deal with. We also would have to deal with some of the operational issues, and then make do with whichever resources we have now to address those challenges.
So, Samuel Koafa is the acting director of corporate strategy at Grateful, and they are also proposing some 131% increment, and they are part of the utility service providers who are actually having this very greater Accra hearing with the general public. So this is what it is at the Ghana Shippers Authority right now.
Then, George, thank you very much. That's my colleague George Queenin providing details there for us. But we know as well that the Executive Secretary of the PURC, Dr. Shafiq Suleiman, says the proposals as presented by these service providers for upward tariff adjustment are for critical investment, one of the justifications we've just been hearing from Gridco. And it follows concerns from some Ghanaians that the percentages are too high for both water and electricity. He spoke on Agenda on TV3 last night.
The utilities made tariff proposals to the Commission. So the tariff proposals are more or less, they are telling us that if the tariffs are adjusted to this level, that's when they would be able to break even and make some margins for themselves. So
Doc, let's take it one by one. You're saying that you talked about investment proposals that they submitted,
yes,
as well as tariffs.
So they submitted investment proposals. We considered them, various projects that they think they would undertake to lead to what we call quality of service improvement within the provision of the utilities. We considered all those projects, and then we approved. So we classified the projects into short-term, medium-term, and long-term, and then we also classified them into critical projects. So we selected the projects, and we indicated back to them that these projects are accepted. So we call something called regulated asset base. So these are the projects we use to develop or set the regulated asset base. We send it back to them. They capture those regulated asset base in their project or their tariffs, and then they arrive at a particular tariff that if we grant them, the PRC grants them, or the Ghanaian consumer grants them, they'll be able to recover the cost of those projects throughout.
Okay, so I think you haven't directly answered my question partially. You're saying that the tariff adjustments that they have asked for, they eventually, if they are granted, they will go into those projects that they submitted to you earlier.
So they've made tariff proposals based on the investment projects that proposals as they've submitted to us.
Doc, are you able to share with us the proposals, the ones particularly you call critical?
Yes.
The reason you found it necessary to present these proposals to us?
There are about 7 utilities that presented their investments, a lot of them. Like for instance, Gridco has submitted over 18 projects, and we considered most of them. The main one is the Eastern Corridor, or Eastern Corridor electrification, not great extension or great service improvement. The transmission line within the Eastern Corridor has been giving a lot of low current to communities around OT. Salaga, for instance, it is being stated that in communities like Salaga, it is a luxury for them to actually get ice block. And it is extremely difficult for them to actually even on a fan, not to talk of owning any generator to even run any agro-processing activity.
Let's talk diamonds now, the precious rare earth minerals. For anyone who finds them, you have found wealth. But for dealers in diamond at one of Ghana's historic mining towns, a darkness envelopes the business they've been engaged in for years. From unfulfilled tax promises to alleged shortchanges, they say government must intervene. Oinagbeta was in Akwetia and now reports.
It's a Sunday,
2 days to a crucial by-election at Akwetia in the eastern region. But amidst the fever-pitch politics which has characterized the constituency, business is fast underway in the Diamond City. We're at Akwetia, Belgium. This very small street is where all of the diamond trade here in the Diamond City of Akwetia takes place. And as early as 8 a.m., dealers have come in their numbers, looking for persons with the precious mineral, buying off them and going to Accra to sell. This dealer has come to sell off some rocks, but the transaction was not successful. Our price variation was different. I wanted 1,500 cedis and he offered 1,000. Rashid is a senior here. He explains to me the process of valuation for the diamonds.
And say a fita maybe other colors, and if white one any first grade, your first, second, third, fourth grade.
The whiteness of the rock is what we look out for. There are 4 grades, and the most dominant grade determines the price.
First grade no does woman, and no be a push price na man. But say be a grade no does woman, and only born na e form. Example to say we say.
For this, there are lots of white grades, so I will offer 320 cedis per carat.
Per carat. One country they go hoy. Me fan say, we say me be scalia. Me wait no. Until we know. When we are 34.84, and the one say me buy man 320 times 34.84. And the go and
so all you see here is 11,148 cedis.
148.
Business, however, is not what it used to be.
First,
this place used to be packed, but we have limited buyers now. And the price is not great.
In fact,
and he is not alone in the concern.
But 2 years in said Manisicono and Yamaya price no ever from cra.
For the last 2 years, the trade is not great. We need investors to help push the business.
No, Mabaka Abrofuni Bihu no matter or market because in the back of Todamodier,
We are being told there is little demand for diamonds, and we are losing out. For leadership of the diamond traders, government has not been fair to them.
But as a business, I've been working for 35 good years. And you know, at the end of the day,
I've achieved a lot via this business. Hence, I stomach losses. But the government doesn't know when I lose. I am still taxed 1.5%. This is killing the business. Mr. Amable insists gold is now valued above diamond trade.
That diamond for that's a good buyer.
Diamond has been holding this economy way before gold. We must not be neglected. If possible, we want a diamond board too. Back in Accra, CEO of the Gold Board admits to the legitimacy of their concerns. He says reprieve is on the horizon.
Unfortunately, when the 2025 budget was presented and a bill was presented to Parliament on the back of that for the repeal of the 1.5% withholding tax, the language used there excluded diamond. It said government was scrapping the 1.5% withholding tax on unprocessed small-scale gold. We brought it to the attention of the Minister of Finance, and we have been giving firm assurances that in the next budget, diamond winners will be brought under this, if you like, amnesty.
Akwetia needs development, with jobs and infrastructure top of the agenda. Many, including these diamond dealers, believe a revamp of GCD will return the town to its glory days. Mawina Egbeta, TV3 News, Akwetia.
Coming up now is By the Numbers. Now, today on By the Numbers, we ask, are calls for a state of emergency justified? The president's position is clear. Exhaust every possible option to tackle Galamsey before invoking such a drastic measure. A state of emergency, they argue, should remain the very last resort. But for civil society groups, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, and many activists, the demand is non-negotiable. They insist the devastation has crossed every red line. Still, what do ordinary Ghanaians think? Let's take a listen.
Been reluctant to implement a state of emergency in the Galamsey fight because we've not exhausted the powers we even have without a state of emergency. We have the opportunity to arrest anybody, to confiscate any such thing. There are laws for forest protection and all that give us enough powers to be able to act. Implementing a state of emergency might sound nice, but it should be the last extreme, the last resort. So for now, let's exercise all the powers we have. And if it becomes necessary for a state of emergency, then we'll look at it. It means we have to go to Parliament. The president can't just declare a state of emergency without, going to Parliament, because there's a limit to how long you can maintain that state of emergency. And so I believe that we still have leverage to continue to fight Galamsey without necessarily implementing a state of emergency. It means that we have to delineate the areas where the state of emergency is operational. And if you look at the area where Galamsey is taking place, it covers several districts of our country. And so we would do it if it becomes necessary. But for now, I think that we've given the security services enough powers to be able to deal with people who are found to be involved in Galamsey.
So what has triggered a state of emergency in Ghana's past? And does the current scale of Galamsey destruction meet that threshold? Let's unpack that in numbers today. Mawina Egbeta will do just that. What are the numbers looking like, Mawina?
We'll look at what the history has been in terms of state of emergencies as we've had in the past. But we're going to start off with what we know as the status of our fight against Galamsey and the destruction as we've witnessed. Reason why we're having the demands continue to come in thick and fast, that we need that declaration of a state of emergency. So this is where we are at. 65% in terms of our natural resources of water being contaminated or polluted as a result of the activities of illegal mining. In terms of forest destruction, we're seeing in excess of 1,210 hectares of forest cover, or forestry essentially, all being done away with as a result of the activities of illegal mining. And we know that the Upper Prim Forest Reserve in particular has suffered most as a result of activities of illegal mining. And then farmlands. We've heard farmers complaining that their farms are being destroyed as a result of illegal mining and they are losing their livelihoods. We're seeing over 100,000 acres of cocoa farms destroyed nationwide. And that's just cocoa farms. If you recall, about 2 weeks ago, Yvonne Nikwe was in some part of the eastern region where the farmers were raising hell about the fact that they were losing their livelihood to the activities of illegal mining. And so this is where we are at in terms of the status quo. But what are the impact zones when we talk of the activities of Galamsey? Let's look at it from the regions and how high their risks are in terms of the activities of illegal mining. So we know that the Ashanti, Western, and Western North regions are perhaps the most affected. In fact, when we went through the data, it's either very high risk or in the case of the Ashanti region, it's quite devastating, the risk alarm which we saw. And so we see high risk as well in terms of the Ahafo, Bono, and then the eastern regions. And so these first three regions are in critical zones, and that's what we've classified for you. Then regions which are labeled as high risk include Ahafo, Bono, eastern region as well. Then 5 other regions, the northern regions, facing some level of contamination, with the Greater Accra and then the Volta regions really the only safe regions when we talk the activities of illegal mining. But with all of that in mind now, let's look at where in our past we've seen the activities of a state of emergency enforced. And we'll start off from 1957 to 58. This was when a state of emergency was declared in Kumasi as a result of ethnic violence, which displaced 5,000 people with curfews and whatnot. Then during Nkrumah's era, and so from 1957 to 58, we saw that first state of emergency declared. Then again, during Nkrumah's reign as Ghana's first president, the Accra bombings and all of its related activities saw a state of emergency declared there as well. Then we moved from there to 78 to 89, the economic collapse of the country, 80+ strikes, forced military intervention nationwide, and so we saw that. Then we moved all the way from there to 94. Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlins, where there were conflicts in the northern part of the country. 1,000+ individuals died. And in 94, we saw under his rule as well, a state of emergency declared. The last we've seen, and the longest in our history, was in 2002 to 2004, and that's the Dagbon crisis. A very important decision to have taken that as a result of what the development was at the time, leading to the state of emergency being declared. Yana was killed. There were more than dozens, in fact, were murdered as a result of that. And that conflict was resolved in Akufo-Addo's time when a chief was installed finally with respect to the Dagbon chieftaincy crisis. But what are the processes now that these calls are coming in thick and fast for a declaration of a state of emergency? These are the processes we're expecting that to take if the president does accede to the demand. Because remember, he says that we're not there yet. There are enough laws to guard against the activities of illegal miners, amongst many other things. The first we will see is the advice of the Council of State to the president. That's a first step. Then we will see a proclamation which will be issued in an official gazette. There will be a notification of Parliament. Then Parliament will vote within 72 hours. Then that initial declaration, 7 days, is what we're expecting it to go through, and that it will be approved. And it will last up to 3 months in terms of its duration, and subsequent extensions will be at the behest of Parliament. And so that's what we know in terms of a declaration of a state of emergency. And this is what we have for you in terms of by the numbers. But in terms of what key stakeholders are demanding, they say they want to see policy and then enforcement and a halt as well to activities of illegal mining. And these are just numbers in terms of the advocacy groups who are pushing in for this declaration of a state of emergency. Of course, we saw a lot of that after the president's media encounter exactly a week ago, where there was some level of disappointment. But let's connect right now with my colleague Noble Crosby-Annan, because he has details a bit more in terms of these demands that have been coming through. Crosby, talk to us.
He is back in the news again, and it is because of recent comments by President Mahama on his position about the declaration of a state of emergency. his comment has also elicited varied reactions from various stakeholders who, a lot of them seem to disagree with the president's position that it may not be time yet for the declaration of a state of emergency. Let's have a conversation on the back of this and speak with a few people on what they make of the president's comment. We're here at the Kaneshi station. This is the Nkoko station, the Circle Nkoko station. We're speaking with a few people on what they make of the president's latest comment and the position of various stakeholders. Let's speak with this brother. You're live on TV3. Good afternoon to you. I'm sure you've heard about the president's comment about illegal mining and the need for the declaration of a state of emergency. He says that it's not time yet. What do you think?
Oh, Yankachi. And I mean, I'm Kolam Wofi, or my TV. Samahama, Kase, won't mean declare, say you chagalam say more. One, Menena Yajin. The Intia Manamahama and Yajin say, I didn't want to mean declare.
Say, or the Niema Guaquema air Brennasi.
Dabi, and that's what Casasam, so Caswa the Niema Guaquam dia, Miss Metro challenge a man and say, a Giania ye do a gun and unibi, and near Barco. In Shuna or ye no one dumbi. Sankayena ko no nsuo bi na problem a ye fam e wo ye bodim any situation na ye kom no akokom bi di anko be decrease galamse na ye de be ye ntwam be sense mpanifo ne shom trim se Ghana ye fuom om pepe sika wa ha no mo de akoma no ne akoye japade ye nti no so man ne be ye den so man ne be ye den inform ho they say nsuo to a wo ko enkoko kwan nsuo a enginam nsuo yi etimi yiri na bakwam eyedentia esan galamse nti amanam na dedam te se nya nsuo nya tope eto kese na bunkama ye de ben afa kuronim afa kwanim
enti wo de wo susu say state of emergency no say ba animanim ya
esa baso life se neya kura se Muhammad dikra youth no obi ni problem yan check ni padodo se ne tu galamse awo Ghana and from the tenty or to galamse 2 year and fast dear ben abo ma brabum. She mo ma brabum. It is all decreasing in Chuma and fa be amra or mine. Or mine because one galamse is sapping manu de sumuna so do one no bonnet no mono. Omwe no bonnet, almost the two galamse, a nipaka crabby. But do one and a no bonnet.
Yeah, medase. So that's the comment from him, and what he said essentially is that there's the need for the declaration of a state of emergency. It should happen in earnest. He is even advocating that it happens possibly today. And the reasons he's giving is that the effect of illegal mining, also known as galamsey, is adverse, and it is very varied. According to him, if the president does not declare the state of emergency, it suggests to him that the president is not really, involved in the day-to-day happenings of the country. He's not drinking the water that we drink. He's not eating the food that we eat. Because to him, if the president were doing the things that everybody else does, he would find the need to declare the state of emergency as early as possible. Let's talk to you too. You're live on TV3. I'm sure you've heard about the president's position on the state of emergency. He thinks it should wait. And at the moment, there are a lot of measures in place to fight illegal mining. Stakeholders disagree with the president's position. What is your position?
Oh, I disagree with the president.
Please speak up for me.
I disagree with the president because if he needs to declare a state of emergency, then it should be now. Yeah, it should be now because actually we in the city, we don't see how things are affecting, sorry to say, excuse my word, the villagers. Yes, because they know what they are going on they are going through over there. Yes, they know what they are going through over there, especially their water bodies and the rest. Yes, they are finding difficulties over there. So I think they are our family. So if he needs to declare it, then it should be now. It's going to say the 8 heroes who lost their lives. Yes, if this thing should have been declared a long time ago, all these things wouldn't have happened.
You think the measures that he says are in place to fight illegal mining, they're not working hard enough?
Oh yes, because we were looking for that when he comes to power, he will see to it that everything comes to an end.
That's why he was voted for.
That is why he was being voted for. But for now, till now, we've not seen any improvement in the Galamsey fight. So he should declare it now, and it will help very well.
You think that he should declare it immediately?
Yes, please.
So that's the thought of another person. I'm sure you use the Nkoko road often. Are you from there?
Nah, I'm from Kumasi.
But you use the road often?
Yes, please.
Seen the impact of Galamsey at where you come from and on the road as well?
Yes, please.
That's why you're asking that emergency be declared as soon as possible?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So that's his thoughts. Let's have another conversation on the back of this and speak with a few more people on what they make of the president's decision and the remarks from various agencies, various stakeholders on the president's position. My brother, you're live on TV3. Talk to us. I'm sure you've heard about the president's stance on the declaration of a state of emergency. Do you agree that it should happen now, or you think there are enough measures to reduce the menace?
Yes, so obey sir, because nipa nkwa ho hia na two nsuo na de bibia, because me say no metumi adwuma me metumi ato bottom nsuo ano ba nya obi a na betumi ayede ato bottom nsuo ano enti no oye ne sa beboa se na be ya yentumi mfa yare mfi nsuo nim.
Sisi anso me no ka say ordinary gu akwan mu bebre a ebre Galamsey nase, but what the audience say state of emergency ne emre ni manim ya sa niam na odi agu akwan mu no, and no impact no na and no effect no and shada anya den sa
and shada anya den sa all because of say I don't know akwesa kaya yetwi usimu ntema na du ntema nti se we decide so opeso ya hu hia se obetwen se ebia so hu nti we decide nkwa de a onye ne moa mai na ye nkwa nso so hu hia ye
So he also thinks that the state of emergency be declared as early as possible. If the president has made up his mind to fight Galamsey, then I mean, one of the things that the president should do is the declaration of a state of emergency. We're still here at the Nkoko Circle Station, and we're engaging with a few people on what they make of the president's position on the declaration of a state of emergency. We're still trying to get a few more people to speak with to know what they think about the position.
That's my colleague Noble Crosby, and you bring us to the end of By the Numbers and take us on to our very first break.
during the ongoing WASI.
During an unannounced monitoring visit to several senior high schools in the Ashanti region to observe and assess the conduct of the ongoing exams, Dr. Apak left no room for ambiguity, declaring that there will be no exceptions and no leniency for anyone found guilty of examination malpractice.
Any staff of Ghana Education Service, teaching or non-teaching, caught abetting and aiding exam malpractices will be held accountable. So for those who have already been apprehended, I'm sorry to say, but nobody is going to intervene or cover up. It is about time we bring sanity to our system.
The Deputy Minister framed the act as a deep-seated societal ill that requires a concerted effort to eradicate.
Examination malpractices are detrimental on a number of grounds. One, we are teaching these young boys and girls dishonesty. We are telling them that hard work doesn't pay. One can cut corners to achieve what you want to achieve. And that is a danger to the well-being of this republic. Two, we are also devaluing the certificates that are going to be awarded by WAEC. And that has implications not just for us as a nation, but even our global and international reputation.
His tour included stops at some selected senior high schools such as Kumasi Academy, KNUST Senior High School, and St. Louis SHS, where he engaged with students and officials. The government heightened vigilance during this year's WASI, according to the Ministry of Education, is part of a broader campaign to restore credibility and international respect for Ghana's educational qualifications.
Now, there was so much excitement as the majority of candidates who sat for the 2025 West African Senior School Certificate Examination wrote their final papers on Monday. From Takoradi in the Western region, my colleague Abraham Mensah interacted with some of the students.
The 2025 WASI started on August 4 with a section of the candidates taking their final papers today, Monday, September 15. There was euphoria. These students felt relieved of the pressures of burning the midnight candle. They hope their toil will come with excellent results that would grant them entry into tertiary education. But for some, it was rather heartbreaking as they will miss the friendship they enjoyed in school.
A little bit excited, but on the other way, I'm not excited because I will not be able to see my friends again, my teachers and all those stuff. My grandma always says life starts after SHS, so I think it's going to be difficult.
Well, it's very nice and we are very excited to finally leave the walls of GSTs, the four corners of GSTs actually.
Expect nothing but the best from GST.
The best,
yes.
the best. The best come from the West. And when you come to the West, it's in Ghana Secondary Technical School.
Yes. Finally, we are proud giants. Yes, we are giants.
I feel very excited. Today is my last day in SHS. And my school daughters were crying because I'm leaving them in this school. I feel so amazing. I wish my mom was here to congratulate me, but unfortunately, my mom is not here. So it's cool. Oh, I want to see myself in something maybe nursing or I want to be someone special who everyone wants to see like, oh, Ben, I want to be like you, something like that.
While their colleagues prepare to leave campus, some students, particularly those pursuing technical courses, are still preparing to write their final papers by September 19, 2025. Abraham Mensah, TV3 News, Takoradi.
Now, the spokesperson for the Movement for Change, Solomon Owusu, says he will petition the Office of the Special Prosecutor to investigate the former Vice President and MPP 2024 flag bearer on the sources of funding and donations of over 300 brand new Navara pickups to the NPP. He spoke on TV3 New Day.
It has not become.
As in, you're petitioning the OSP to investigate that donation done by the former Vice President.
He himself willingly gave us this information. Willingly. For the first time, he has been so charitable, giving us this information. From there, I'm going to petition also on Brian Champon. He was saying that he gave $1,500 to each of the executives. Ken Japan also was making reference to some money. No, we have to let the system work. People get away with a lot of things because we have the laws, we have the institutions. And in this country, we are quick to identify the problem, but nobody wants to ask it to make sure that we deal with the problem. This morning at 10:30, I, together with Ebo Bachman and lawyer Pierre Dankwa, we are going to test the laws of the land to make sure that the former vice president comes out to explain to the people of this country how and where he got these 300 plus Navara pickups that are brand new in nature, and as to whether or not these were not aided by foreigners who are not supposed to take part in our body politic in terms of funding.
Well, there's a strong push for more transparency in Ghana's political financing following worrying revelations. It will cost in excess of $200 million to run for the presidency. The details captured in a CDD report. A Ghana city equivalent of some 575 million cedis is what it will cost anyone desiring to be president of Ghana. Political scientists Dr. Joshua Zato and Ketu North MP Eddie Magbana all demanded stringent enforcement laws during the discussions on TV3 New Day.
Political campaigns in Ghana have become extremely expensive, very expensive. And if you ask me, the biggest challenge I faced in my journey to becoming a member of parliament, I'll tell you that it's funding. Finance, we have made politics simply too expensive. The CDD's projections may be too modest because these are not even directly the logistical needs towards the campaign. You spend on the many other things. The laws may not be sufficient in defining how to raise funding for political campaigns, because when you read the law, it's mostly about non-Ghanaians or foreigners being prevented or prohibited from supporting the campaign. But the question is, who regulates how Ghanaians also get involved in political party financing? So every candidate decides on how they intend to raise their funds.
The fact that we need a lot of money to run for campaigns is not new. The fact that candidates must raise a lot of money is not new. The problem we have in Ghana is that the reporting system and the accountability system, the infrastructure, the policy to guide it is the only problem. Don't let us try to create this caricature that our elections are too expensive, and because it's expensive, that is necessary by corruption. What we need to do to reform the system is, one, improve our campaign financing laws. Improve our campaign fundraising laws. Improve our campaign reporting laws. In other words, bring enough transparency and accountability to the system.
Away from that, President Mahama is urging African leaders to, among many things, protect media and civic space, describing a free press as democracy's immune system. Speaking at the 2025 Democracy Dialogues organized under the auspices of the Goodluck Jonathan Foundation, he emphasized the need to strengthen institutions such as the courts, parliament, and electoral bodies.
For those who attended my inauguration, if you were not on the Black Star Square and we had locked you in a room and you could hear the announcement of the acknowledgement of the presidents who were coming up to greet me, you'd have noticed that the loudest applause was for the countries that have overthrown democracy and are under military dictatorship. That should give us a pause for thought. That should make us think. And that should make us ask our questions ourselves questions about why democracies die. And that's why the topic of today is relevant. What are the things we need to do to sustain democracy? Democracy will not survive by itself if we don't work for it. And like Omar Toure said, whatever system of government you have, autocracy, democracy, theocracy, whatever, if it does not deliver opportunities and prosperity to the people, it will not survive.
Can you record from someone?
And that's President John Dramani Mahama,
Indeed.
Event today. That's how we'll end this afternoon's edition of The Bulletin. A lot more news if you log on to freenews.com. I am Marwin Aigbeta.
And I am Kemeni Amano. Next is the afternoon show. We will see you same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.